Good morning, you're welcome to the breakfast on Plustv Africa. My name is Reme Paulson.
And I am Nyamgul Agaji. It's good to be here on the 20th day of May 2025. We made it this far and hopefully we're going to even go further than this.
That's right. And today is known as Flower Day. So it is celebrated on the 20th of May every year. And it's just a time to appreciate, the beautiful flowers that we have. Basically appreciate nature. And so in this time, this is where you're supposed to be gifting me flowers.
Yeah, but I didn't remember to buy a helmet. You don't give flowers to a Nigerian lady.
That's not true.
They will stone you.
That is not true.
Except you add it with something else.
Yes, money.
Or the flower bouquet that we see in Nigeria has to be money.
Yeah,
has to be money.
Actually, there is a thing called the money bouquet.
A lot of people, a lot of ladies in Nigeria do not value flowers for flowers' sake.
No, I love flowers, and I think it's important that
So if on your birthday I give you flowers,
yes, it will make me happy. I'm like, oh, this
okay,
is so
thanks,
beautiful.
thanks
but not just flowers. Make sure you're putting other things, packaging some really, really nice gifts. Anyways, on today's breakfast show, we'll be looking at several hot topics, one of which is Reps warn CBN against negative impact of high interest rates. Much later in the show, discussing the fact that reps are divided over a bill to make voting mandatory in Nigeria. We'll also be taking the global stories that has made it to the front pages of our national dailies this morning, as well as some top trending stories. And moving over to our top trending stories, this first one says Governor Sani links insecurity in North to poverty. Now, Governor Sani of Kaduna State has identified poverty and unemployment as the root causes of insecurity in northern Nigeria. He said economic deprivation makes young people easy targets for recruitment by armed groups. Drawing on his background in the Senate Banking Committee, Sani revealed that over 60% of people in the Northwest were financially excluded as of 2023. He also highlighted that education as a key issue, disclosing that over 350,000 children were out of school when he assumed office. With recent efforts and collaboration with international development agencies, he said progress is being made, although the North still accounts for 70% of the country's 18.2 million out-of-school children. Sani emphasized that solving the region's insecurity crisis will take time, as it stems from years of policy neglect. He urged northern leaders to face the harsh realities, push for equality, and invest in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. While Kaduna has seen reduced violence recently, he noted that trust in government depends on fairness and justice.
I think it's a good thing that he's acknowledging the fact that years of neglect by the northern governors themselves, by the northern political elites, by the northern opinion molders and all that is the cause of this. And if you ask me, selfish interests has caused this because they know that procreation, for instance, is to their advantage. A father who cannot provide for the children will have 15 children, put them on the streets, no education, and then they're gullible enough to just follow the bandwagon. So they're using this to get votes and all that, so they don't want to do anything about it. No matter how we see it, and we try to preach that it's a cultural thing, they're allowed to marry more than one wife and all that, the people who are the opinion molders are also allowed to marry the 4 wives and have children. How many do they have? So why not preach that aspect of the fact that having more children than you can cater for is not really very good, no matter whether it was given as a condition, not even as a condition, because in the Quran it was said that you have to love all your equally, and then you have to take care of them and all that. In the Bible they say if you cannot take care of your family, you're worse than an infidel. So we need to start preaching this, need to start telling the people the need for family planning to start with, and then take education seriously. Not like a former president was trying to do something about the Almajiris and they said it's a cultural thing. People need to be on the streets and all that. I was wondering how someone who is supposed to be a learned person can say that. But unless they take education seriously, they preach the advantages of having a small family you can take care of and all that, these things will continue.
So I think where I have a problem with is I wouldn't say the northern leaders do not know these things, but in a way we've seen where in Nigeria these politicians try to weaponize poverty.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like they want to put you underneath they want to suppress you all the time, so that when it comes to voting, they can get your numbers, and all you have to do is, you know, sell your vote for maybe 5,000 or whatnot. The sad truth is Nigeria now seems to be one of the countries that has the most out-of-school children in the world. What are we really doing about it? These northern leaders, they have their small families. They can cater for their small families. They send their children abroad.
Families who maybe do not even vote because they're always outside.
Yes, they're abroad, and they have enough money to be able to cater for them. But these other families, where you would even think that most of the NGOs would go to, especially when it comes to like family planning and whatnot, they even tell them it's okay. You know, the Marjorie system obviously would thrive even more because they love to see these things. Imagine a man having 19, 20 children. You cannot cater for them. You have no business having 19, 20 children. But I know that in the past, you know, in the olden times, right, our forefathers, they really used to have so many children because they saw it as a way to amass wealth. So what you do is when you have a lot of children, you can send them to the farms. Most times that's why they wanted boys, because they felt like boys were stronger. So you send them to the farm, and that way, obviously, when you have more produce, you can sell. But in this day and age, how many people are really doing that? We've moved away from that. And so where we are right now is education. We're looking at technology. We're looking at better ways to be able to compete with the other parts of the world. But guess what? We're not in farmlands anymore, and your children cannot compete, you know, when it comes to things like engineering, technology, and whatnot. But you're putting them in a system that always keeps them there and weaponizes poverty.
The cows are still on the streets anyway.
Well, so I think it's time for. I think it's time
not
for
to move past that. Yeah.
I think it's time for the North to wake up. You know, it's just wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and know that these northern leaders, some of them, they don't have your best interest at heart. They just want to weaponize that poverty, keep you right there, so that you're always going to be at their beck and call. And it's nice to see, you know, Sani, for one, acknowledging the fact that this is what it is, speaking about it. But it's not just speaking about it, you have to do something about it.
They need to come together as a bloc and address this issue. If they keep saying they have been marginalized and all that, it is their fault. And not everything is politics. He came and said that when he came on board, there were this number of people and out of school, and that's reduced and all that. Hey, if it reduces in Kaduna State and it doesn't reduce in Borno State, for instance, you will still have the same problem. You're like a big man who has tarred his compound and left the road. The dust will still enter your compound, whether you like it or not. So that's how it is. The North has to come together and do something about what is happening. 70% out of all the out-of-school children being in the North is a big number to be worried about. They should be worried about that.
And I think another thing I want to even add is not just saying we're coming together. This is where the continuance in governance, you know, is important, the continuity. So even if these governors come together now, it's important that they still look for a way that it continues.
There should be a policy.
Yes, exactly. A successive government comes and still rides with that policy.
Okay, the second one is that NAFDAC reaffirms December deadline for sachet alcohol ban. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has confirmed that the ban on sachet alcohol drinks will take full effect from December 31, 2025. The agency clarified that the current lifting of the ban is temporary, allowing time for collaboration between manufacturers and regulators for a smooth implementation. Speaking in Abuja, Kenneth Azikiwe, director of NAFDAC's FCT Directorate, stressed that misinformation about permanent reversal is false. He said the temporary relief was granted by the minister to enable structural adjustments before the final phase-out of sachet alcohol products below 200 milliliters. Azikiwe noted that nationwide sensitization is ongoing, with efforts focused on discouraging alcohol sales to individuals under 18. He also praised the Distillers and Beverage Association of Nigeria for supporting the campaign, reaffirming NAFDAC's commitment to responsible alcohol regulation across the country. Do you take sachet alcohol?
I do not. I most definitely do not, but I mean, I can understand.
Second question is that this aggressive campaign they're talking about that is going nationwide, have you really felt it?
No, I think the place that you really need to go do these campaigns are the bus parks, because those are the people who take the sachet drinks. You know, you just tear it up, drink it. It's easier for them. It's something that they can afford. So I don't know about any campaign that is going on, but maybe they're doing that in a book.
Yeah, you will see on the billboards, do not sell to people below 18. A lot of people who drink this don't even read. They cannot read. Like we were talking about the North just a while ago. We were advising them to know that their elites are not doing right, but we're speaking English. A lot of them do not even understand
what we're
English.
saying.
So if you need a campaign to be aggressive as you want it to be, you have to go to the grassroots. Use the languages they understand. Go to the places where you have a bulk of these people who patronize this kind of things and all that. But I don't know if it is going to stop the menace of alcohol, because there are some little bottles that are barely above 200 milliliters and they are affordable. But drivers, in a case where drivers wake up in the morning, the first thing they want to do is to just wash their teeth. They don't brush, they use that to brush their teeth, and then they're carrying people, endangering lives and property.
I feel like that's even one of the reasons why NAFDAC is trying to clamp down on this, so that there is not so much alcohol in circulation. But the truth is, there's only so much that you can do. I know one part is that, the other part is the plastic waste that we see, and I think Lagos State even had to ban, plastic. So I think if you go to a supermarket now, you probably have to buy a paper bag or something. But with the alcohol, there are so many people, it's easily accessible. That's the problem. You're seeing, even little kids, you know how you have like these vulcanizers, boys and whatnot, because they're seeing their master, in quotes, drinking it, them too. They feel like, I want to belong, I want to, and there is no regulation to it. So I don't even think it's just a ban on plastic, on sachet drinks. I think there needs to be a lot of regulation being done on the sale of alcohol itself. If you go to the UK, for instance, and I know a lot of people will say, hey, this is Nigeria, why do you keep bringing up the UK or the US? But these are countries that we learn a lot of things from. If you're going there, you need to show your license for you to be able to get alcohol. For you to even buy a knife, you have to show your license, because they understand that a lot of things like shanking, stabbing people, is peculiar to their country. So they try to put a lot of measures in to curb it. So if we're seeing that alcohol, the usage of alcohol too much is peculiar to our country, we have to look for policies. So why are you not saying that most places that sell alcoholic drinks, they need to have licenses? You have licenses for you to even start that business, and whenever anybody comes, I show it to you. But anybody can go to a supermarket right now and get alcohol. Anybody can be in a bus stop and get alcohol.
I was in Obalende a few days ago, and something took me under the bridge of Obalende, and there were basins, I'm talking about basins openly, of Indian hemp.
Wow.
So they were fetching the Indian hemp with cups and all that, and then wrapping some others.
I don't understand, is it liquid?
No, I see they were measuring it in state cups and all that, Derica and all, and then they were wrapping some others.
Is that legal in Nigeria now?
It is not legal, but the police know about it, I'm very sure. All the relevant authorities know about it, but they're not doing anything about it. You just say it one day, maybe you go and do some enforcement one day when you lack money and you need people to settle you, you just go and do the enforcement and come back.
Ridiculous,
and
man.
Every other day they are selling this openly. Nobody's hiding it. At least at some point, you will need to have connections. It's by connection, like we say, before you can get where you see Indian hemp, for instance. But now it is openly done.
Wow.
You go to anywhere here, maybe close to even our office, in the evenings, you are seeing people hawking hard drugs. And the police will be passing there and they're not doing anything. Once in a while, they come and raid the place, and that's the end of it. So consistency is key in all these things. So if you're talking alcohol, be consistent. If you're talking other illicit drugs, be consistent. Our youths are going to a place where we do not know, as we say in Nigeria.
Even children in secondary schools are beginning to take alcohol, are beginning to take, all of these drugs, are beginning to go under the influence, and it's nothing. So honestly, I think the policies should not just be NAFDAC saying we're clamping down on sachet. That's not even the main problem. Let's fight the root cause, and all right, we'll take one more top trending story. This last one says, ASUS hails federal government's free education policy in federal technical colleges. The Academic Staff Union of Secondary Schools, ASUS, Nigeria, has commended the federal government for introducing a free education scheme of across 33 federal science and technical colleges, FSTCs, set to commence in August 2025. The initiative, part of the Technical and Vocational Education Training TVET program, aligns with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. ASOS National President Comrade Shola Adigun described the move as a bold and strategic investment in the nation's youth and technical education system. He noted that the policy, which includes free tuition, monthly stipends, meals and accommodation, globally recognized certifications, and post-graduation support, is critical in bridging Nigeria's skills gap, reducing unemployment and boosting the global competitiveness of Nigerian youths. While applauding the program, ASOS called for strong implementation strategies to ensure its long-term success. The union highlighted key areas for attention, such as infrastructure upgrades, teacher welfare, inclusive stakeholder engagement, equitable access, and transparent recruitment and grant processes. It also advocated for full implementation of the 65-40 retirement policy and a greater focus on vocational pathways in secondary schools. I like it.
Yeah, I do like it, and but I'd say that education in Nigeria needs a holistic and a general revamp, not just technical colleges and all that. You see, the federal colleges, for instance, have a high standard of education. The teaching and learning there is top-notch. Getting admission into it is a problem. Their fees are very low, and you get the best for your money. But getting there is a problem. So why not make every secondary school as good as the federal school? You see now,
it's
33 schools across the nation, 33 of such schools that have been given free education. They're just 33. Not even, if you have one in every state, that means that you will have a deficit, because we have 36 states under FCT. So it's just 33. And it doesn't augur well for a nation like Nigeria, 200 and something million strong. So a revamp in the education sector should be done, and free education is affordable in Nigeria. We can have free education in Nigeria across board, make the teachers better, and churn out more teachers that will be professional enough to teach our students, and then give us the conditions in the schools that will make our students be practical and not. There are some people who still draw computers. Now we're talking about CBT when JAMB is going haywire about a small glitch. So if we still draw computers in this day and age, we still draw grasshoppers, we draw everything, then you should know that our education system has not even started, because we cannot compete with the outside world.
Not at all.
So it shouldn't also only be technical colleges, it should be across board.
But I know that it's important that you start from somewhere, so this is a good step in the right direction, but of course it shouldn't end here. We should be looking at other ways to just ensure that our kids can have that quality education that they need. All right, we'll go on a short break now. We'll look at the weather report. When we return, we'll be reviewing the papers, so please stay with us.